Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. So, today I'm going to be talking about this week's anime, specifically Metallic Rouge. I'm yet to watch the latest episode of Frieren, and of course, on Saturday, I'm recording this on a Friday, but on Saturday, there's going to be the Apothecary Diaries and Buchigiri. Those are all the seasonal anime that I'm watching right now, but I will probably cover those another time. But I want to talk about Metallic Rouge because this week's episode might have been the most, the one that made the most sense. And this anime has been airing for, 9 weeks now? And I remember being really excited for it. I remember being like, oh, it's like mech, it's got like great music, it's got great backgrounds, it's an original, it looks cool. And I almost dropped it at like episode 3. I was like, it's not that good. But then I had fallen behind 2 weeks, so I watched the next two episodes up to episode 5, and I was like, oh wait, this is starting to get interesting. So if you're at episode 9 and you're thinking of dropping it, I think you're already a little too far in to consider that. But basically, definitely keep watching because this week's episode, everything's starting to come together. That's the thing with Metallic Rouge. It's been like kind of all over the place, but here things are starting to come together. So basically, we're picking up. We start off the episode with the fight at, oh crap, I forgot the building, but the place where Naomi works and Rouge's older brother works. Alethea, I think it's called. And, we got the Immortal Nine, they're throwing hands. Rouge is throwing hands. R.I.P. the Neon that worked with the detective. Because as much as the detective was like, oh, you're useless, you can tell he cared about him at the end of the day. So, but that was last week's episode. But still, it was sad to see, just to remember that happened. So Aes, I think is how you say it. I'm watching the sub, so I don't really know. Is fighting Rouge, and Rouge is all like, hey man, why are you fighting me? I thought we were chill, And Jill, so Graphon and Jill, I guess Graphon doesn't want Jill to fight. He's like, you're like a little too aggressive. I'm not too sure. I'm gonna be honest. This show doesn't make any sense, dude. Definitely a show you have to sit down and watch, binge watch the whole thing. Wait for all 12 episodes. But this one made the most sense. And so Gene, he gets kidnapped. And Rouge is like, come back here, bro. But homie's knocked out, so he's gone. Eden, or the Jet Black Noir, I think I remember that's what it's called. He gets his ID yanked out. I'm surprised he didn't immediately, freaking collapse like everyone else who got their ID yanked out. But yeah. And so Cyan Rouge, I think I can just call her Cyan. She battled Rouge. And Naomi was like, wait a minute, Cyan, they might really be sisters. And she's like, well, obviously, bro, like, they're clones. Like, she's a clone of her, Is, as you remember, in the episode with the circus people, they kind of, like, stole, like, Rouge's memories or whatever. But, yeah. So, Naomi was like, hey, Rouge, I have an idea on how to combat Cyan woman. And then she's like, oh, why should I trust you? I don't trust you, man. And for valid reasons, she's like, girl, just listen to me. And so it looks like what Rouge did, it was she inverted her power as if she was transforming. And it canceled out the power that Cyan was putting out. I don't know, some technical shit happened. But point is, they survived, Cyan got knocked out. And then Naomi's like, shoot, I didn't even know if that was gonna work. I was like, okay, girl. But yeah. So we cut to the next scene, and it looks like the detective took home Cyan. He's taking home so many people like they're stray cats, dude. It's hilarious. But next, after that, we see Naomi say, well, actually, before that, she's like, I gotta show you something. And then Rouge is like, okay, yeah, you do. So they travel to outer space, and there are the visitors. So we start learning about them. And 40 years ago, they made contact with mankind and they shared their technology with them. And now they only show themselves to certain people. And this is where it gets really cool and interesting. So, also, the animation at like 11 minutes was really weird. But, anyways, Naomi, she dropped a bombshell. She's not human. Um, she was, I guess, the first Neon to be created. You know, the humans, they created the Immortal Nine as the first Neons, but the first one to actually, be made was Naomi. And she is called First. And the visitors are, their real name is X Noah. And they came here. And basically, Naomi is like a representative, not a representative, but she is the one who works down works down on Earth, and it's kind of like the link between X Noah and humankind. She just interacts with them, and X Noah, they can't interfere with human affairs, none of that. They just give them the technology. So X Noah, we learn a bit about them. They were kind of weird that Naomi was gonna like change after spending so much time with Rouge, because they're very like a logical species. And then later on, in the few minutes later in the episode, she kind of uses that logic to that like way of thinking to be like, oh, okay, can I go do this? So yeah, but basically, Ex Noah, they evolved over the course of many different generations to adapt to interstellar travel, and their planet had been destroyed by the usurpers, aka Junoids. They're a little on the violent side, and they made a deal with the humans. And basically, what the deal was Ex Noah would give them technology to make neons, and the neons would work specifically on Venus. And Venus is the most habitable planet in the solar system for Ex Noah to live. Except the Junoids, they're also kind of they want that planet. They want Venus, and they also want, I think it was Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter. So that's why, as we saw a few episodes before, all the neons, they work on Venus. So obviously Rouge, she is, kind of pissed off about this. She's like, you're just using the neons as a tool. And something I've really enjoyed over the past few episodes has been her growth. Because at first, her dialogue is kind of weird. She has like this toddler-ish way of speaking. And it makes sense when, in last week's episode, we were looking through her dad's memories. And it's like, yeah, she's growing at a physically becoming strong at a very fast rate, but mentally girl's lagging behind. So now she's really starting to think for herself, and she's starting to find what she wants, and what she really wants is, I guess, to free the neons. But in order to do so, Code Eve. So Code Eve, as we learned, was the code that basically overwrites the Asimov code, in which means basically they got free will. With Code Eve, they can start throwing hands, and the code is inside of Rouge's ID. So in order to get it, she kind of has to die. So that's going to be really interesting, because obviously the Junoids, they want the code so they can set the neons free and cause chaos and start a war. And Rouge, she definitely wants the neons to be free, but to do that, she might have to die, or we're gonna have to like extract the code some other way. Going back to the circus people, so the Junoids are the circus people, which it makes sense, because then they made Cyan from Rouge, and then Cyan's out here just started in a bunch of fights and stuff, and it's all coming together, and hopefully it starts making sense in the final few episodes, but it's all coming together. And that was kind of the vibe I had for this anime. First few episodes, I was like, okay, it's obviously drip feeding us information, which nothing wrong with that, but just the way it went about it wasn't, it's pretty messy. But, you know, it's the type of show that drip feeds you information, and then, you know, uh, in the final few episodes, in the final stretch, it'll all come together nicely. So I'm really looking forward to that. And so while we're on the ship, we get after all this information, this lore dump, Rouge is like, okay, Naomi, why did you betray me, dude? And then Naomi was like, she thought it was the safest option because she thought Rouge would have been dismantled if she hadn't. And so Rouge is like, okay, fair. Now let me hit you. And so she sucker punched the hell out of her. Oh my god, dude. That was funny. That was funny. And then they had this sweet moment where Rouge was like, okay, now that I got that punch out, you're gonna stay with me, right? And then Naomi's like, I guess, man. Like, you know, you'd be in trouble without me. So, you know, that was really nice. After that, Naomi, she's basically advocating for Rouge to go to Venus. And X-No was like, no, it's too dangerous because if they get a hold of her, they're gonna kill her and use the code and da da da. And then Naomi's like, no, she'll be fine, she'll be fine. And she's basically, as I said before, you know, X-No was very, like, they have this logical way of thinking, and so she uses that, like, logic to be like, oh yeah, this is a very logical decision. You should let her go, you know? And then they're like, no, you right, okay, but she can go. And then she's like, okay, in that case, I'm gonna go too. And then they're like, actually, you can, because she's only supposed to, like, work with humans and not get involved in combat. And as I said before, they can't interfere. Ex-Noah does not interfere in human affairs. So then she was like, okay, in that case, I guess I'll take the day off, you know? And then they were like, what are you talking about? And she has this really funny thing where she's like, well, logically thinking, you know, like logically speaking, taking the day off helps increase efficiency. And I have to date it. Like, she had receipts. She was ready to pull out a whole chart. And they're like, oh, that's pretty logical. Yeah, you can take the day off. So that's really funny. And then Rouge laughed. I don't remember what she was laughing at, but she laughed, and I was like, whoa, I think that's the first time we've actually seen this girl laugh. And so the episode ends with Detective Bro coming up, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna take you to Venus. And then Eden's still there. Somehow he's still, like, walking. It's like, bro, you got your ID yanked out of you. Like, what hello, you know? But yeah, it looks like we're gearing up for the final showdown to stop the usurpers. But what I'm really curious to see is what's gonna happen with the Neons. You know, what is Rouge gonna, you know, come to? Because obviously she wants the Neons to be free, but how are we gonna get to there? And what's gonna be the aftermath? Because if the anime ends where it's like, oh, we just freed everyone, you know, but I want to see, like, the after effects, or at least, like, what that's gonna look like. I don't want it to just be like, okay, yeah, we free them, you know, story over. So yeah, I just think it's really tying up the past few episodes very nicely, and I'm really looking forward to the next next 3 episodes. Crazy, it's been 9 weeks. That's all I had to say. If you liked this video, please subscribe, and I will make, you know, more anime videos. This channel, I'd originally started it to just post, like, my music progress and stuff like that, and covers, and I'm still gonna do that. It's just that I kind of want to post other stuff that I really like. So yeah, thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts on Metallic Rouge, and I will reply. We can theorize. And yeah, I hope you have a good day. Thank you for watching.